Okay, so today we are going to start with our evaluating online resources. And when you do this, there is a tool you can use called the CRAP test. This was in the video you just watched. Um, so we are going to actually go through this step by step. How do I know if my source is a good one or a crappy one? What does that even matter? Why does it even matter? It matters a lot because you want to make sure you are getting um, useful, valuable information. We're going to start with the C in CRAP, and that stands for currency. Now, when you are evaluating online resources, currency does not mean money. It means when was the last update or when was the last edition printed? How current is this information and how current do you need it to be? You can find this information at the bottom of the home page of a website. Sometimes it just has a copyright date and sometimes it says last update. Now, it all depends upon the information you're looking for. If you are trying to decide on buying a new cell phone, and you're on a website that was last updated in 2010, that information is not going to be valuable for you because cell phones have changed a lot since then. However, if you are looking up information for a report on the habitat of ostriches, and the last time it was updated was like 2012, that's okay because the habitats of ostriches haven't really changed much in the last 8 years. So always be aware of what you're researching and how up to date you need the information to be. So currency stands for how current is the information. Now we're going to move on to the R in CRAP, which stands for reliability. So first we had currency, now we have reliability. Can this information be found somewhere else? Can you verify the reliability of the site or source? Look for data statistics and other facts that you can confirm with other sources, then confirm them. Look for the same information in other sources, info that you are not using. Can you triangulate your information? Meaning, can you find it in 3 sources at least? Does the site or the source add to the facts, issues, or arguments of which you're already aware? Does it provide details not available elsewhere? Is it always there when you need it? There are a lot of times, especially during important years like election years, where fake websites will pop up that look authentic, but they're not. And then they will just disappear after the election. So you want to make sure that your website is permanent, that it has information that can be found elsewhere, that they can verify the information they're giving you. You can use all kinds of fact checking websites also to check this. Now we're going to move on to A. A stands for authority. So we've had currency, we've had reliability, now we have authority. Sometimes you are going to have websites that look like the person who has posted it knows what they're talking about, but they really don't. So you want to know who the author is and what is his or her credentials. You can look the author up by Googling them. Um, Most websites that are authentic and trying to provide information that is reliable will have links on the author's name that you can just click on and go to that author and it'll show a list of things that author has written. Keep in mind you want articles that are not biased and are not opinions but facts. Uh, if you find out that an author who is writing about World War II warfare history, but all of their education is um, on literature, that may not be the best person to be writing about what you're looking at. So make sure you're looking at their credentials. What do they have experience and education in? Sometimes the author is an organization. Make sure you're getting your information from reliable organizations. If you've never heard of the organization, make sure you look them up. Um, so, who created the information and why? What knowledge and skills do they have in this area? What's their resume? In other words, what is their experience in that area? What kind of site or source is this? Now, this gets a little bit tricky. We are told a lot of times that if it's .edu, .gov, .mil, .org, that it's reliable. That's not always true. Now, the .gov government agencies are really the only ones that are allowed to have that. So those are usually almost always reliable. Um, .edu should be, because you have to be an educational institution to have that. Now .org, they are supposed to be reliable, but anybody can really have a .org domain. So make sure that when you're looking at .org domains, that they are reliable institutions. .com, a lot of times you'll be told, don't trust it if it's a .com. Well, discovery.com and natgeo.com, those are very reliable websites, and they are .com. So again, just be aware of the organization that is behind the website. There are university press websites. There's general publishing house press sites. Make sure you're looking at what other things an author has written if it's a single author. Now we're going to move on to P, which stands for point of view or perspective. If you look at this graphic, this man's so excited to see a boat because he's been stuck on this island. This man is so excited to see the island because he's been stuck in a boat. So a lot of times it depends upon perspective as to how reliable something is. Why is this information here? Be on the lookout for hidden agenda. Is the information objective or subjective? Does it reflect bias or prejudice? How does the sponsor, publisher impact the perspective of the information? Okay, when you're talking about sponsors, these are people that help a website with their funding to make sure that they have the money to keep their website going. Think of it this way: if you are wanting to buy a new cell phone and you're looking at a website that has customer reviews, and there is an ad, which is probably a sponsor, on that website for the Google Pixel, do you think those customer reviews are going to be very um, unbiased? If they have a sponsor on that website from Google Pixel, then they're probably going to keep any bad reviews of the Google Pixel off of that website. And they may even make sure that all the reviews for the other brands are bad reviews. So make sure you're paying attention to those advertisements, those sponsors that may be on a website, because that could impact the validity and the reliability of the information. Um, does the website present both sides of a topic? Does it manipulate data in unethical ways? Be very, very, very careful with statistics and data and things where it says 94% of or things like that. Make sure that you can verify this data and these statistics in another place, because a lot of times websites and companies want to manipulate those numbers to make you believe what they want you to believe. Truthfulness is usefulness. You want facts. We can all say our opinions are truth because actually to us they are truth. However, when it comes to researching things and comes to finding out information that's going to help drive your decisions, you want facts, not opinions. Even if the facts don't match up with what you think, it's better to go with the truthful facts that can be verified than it is to just go with, well, this is what I believe and this is what I like. Because sometimes, even though it's what you like and what you want, you may end up with information that's not really helpful to you. Okay, what's the deal with Wikipedia? Is it reliable? Why or why not? How can I use it in my paper? Okay, first of all, I'm going to preface this by saying if you have a teacher that tells you not to use Wikipedia, don't use it. Please follow that teacher's instructions. If you have somebody that doesn't say anything about it or leaves it open to you, be very careful with Wikipedia because it can be altered by people that may not have the best information. Um, I would suggest if you do use Wikipedia to not have it be your main source and go down to the bottom of any page and see if it lists sources for its information. Check those sources, and again, make sure the information that you're getting off of Wikipedia, you have found in at least two other places. Make sure it's triangulated so it's considered one of the third sources. And always list it as your third source, not as your first or second. Yahoo Answers or Google, they are not necessarily reliable. Why not? I want you to think about that. Why would Yahoo Answers or Google not necessarily be reliable? Well, here's the answer. Yahoo Answers are answered by everyday people, and again, these people may think they know what they're talking about, but they may not. And they may be giving you opinions instead of facts. On Google, when you do a Google search, companies and websites pay to be the first ones listed in the search. They pay for that privilege. And just because they're at the top of the search does not mean that they are reliable information. And please keep in mind when you type something into Google, you need to actually click on the link, go to the website, and read what's there. Please do not just read the little blurb that's there and accept it as the honest to goodness truth. It may be, it may not be. You don't know. So you need to actually go to the website, check the website out, make sure it's reliable before you use that information. Google is not a resource you should be using in your research. Google is a search engine that helps you find resources. Always remember that. If you are doing a research paper for a teacher, do not list Google as your resource. It's not a resource, it's a search engine. If you are doing research to help you make important decisions, do not use those little blurbs. You don't know if they're true or not. Your better options is to go through databases through a library or go to Google Scholar or just look at the websites and figure out if they are reliable. Dictionaries and encyclopedias, generally not used as scholarly sources, especially not anymore because they're kind of outdated. Um, the online dictionaries, if you go to like Webster Dictionary, it can help you with things like definitions and the origins of words and the uses of words. Um, as there are also specialty dictionaries and encyclopedia. An example would be Encyclopedia Fantasy Literature, which focuses on one topic, so they are a expert in that area. Okay, so that's the end of our um, Prezi slides. I want to show you this now. This you will be using today. This is the CRAP checklist. Um, it goes through all four letters: currency, reliability, authority, purpose. These questions here are are to help drive you. Um, I would expect you to fill out most of them. Some of them you can probably leave blank. Fill out at least one for each of the letters before you decide on yes or no. And when you decide, if you decide yes, that the website is current enough, you are going to select the word yes. Then you're going to come up here and you're going to highlight it, because circling in uh, Google Docs is not as easy as just highlighting. So instead of circling, you're going to highlight. And after you get through, you are going to type down here at the bottom underneath either yes, it is a reliable website, or you're going to click no, it is not a reliable website. Please do not just type yes, do not just type no. Make sure you type out the whole sentence. Okay, it's time for you to get started. Make sure you watch the video. Make sure if you have not watched the video that was listed before this, make sure you watch it. And you can go ahead and click on the link to this document and get started. There is another document that lists like this. There's a link to this document that gives you a list of websites. You are to pick one of these websites. You can look at all of them, but you're only going to fill out this form on one of them. Okay, get started.